What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. We got a special guest today, Mr. Syveon Wilkerson, Jackson State running back, 1,000-yard rusher, all SWAC, all everything. Syveon, how's it going, man?
Going good. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, we're glad to have you. We are glad to have you, and we love everything that you're doing. Obviously what you did on the field, but what you're doing in the offseason, man. Just talk to me about really quick, just what this offseason has been like since the season ended up until this point. What's it been like for you?
For me, it's been working. Honestly, this is actually my first time having a real off season while being in college. Because of other things that was going on, but the transfer portal and all that stuff. I transferred a couple times, so this is my first time actually being able to have an off season and go through the spring, and then summer, and then head into the 2023 season. So I'm excited for it, and I'm ready to see how everything goes.
Absolutely, man. And let's talk about that, not having a traditional offseason for yourself. You talked about hitting the transfer portal a couple times. After you had a really good year at Dell State and you hit the portal. Just what was the thinking behind that? What made you feel like you needed a change of scenery as far as leaving leaving Dell State and ultimately ending up at Jackson State?
I mean, from high school, I believe I should have went bigger, but because of other circumstances, I did not. So when I entered the portal the first time, I wanted to come play at Jackson State for Coach Brown. That was my whole thing. That's what I wanted to do, and God made it happen. So He made it happen how He made it happen. It didn't happen when I wanted it to happen, but it happened when He made it happen. And His timing is always perfect timing. And so my whole goal was just I wanted to play for Prime, and I wanted to play in front of a bigger stage, bigger, exposure, all that. So that was my whole goal when I entered the portal.
Absolutely, man. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the 2022 season first before we get into the future stuff. You get there at Jackson State, but man, you weren't the starter. You kind of got there late. Just what was the first couple of weeks, and especially when the season got started, you weren't starting. You probably weren't getting the touches that you wanted. What was that like for you?
We had a couple scrimmages, during the fall, and then we also had summer workouts. So coach was able to see what I can do, and they already knew who I was and stuff. But obviously, you still had to come in and prove yourself, and I didn't have any problem with that. I mean, I was told, I'm just not gonna be handed anything, and I'm like, okay, that's nothing to me. I've been working for things all my life, so I came in, I was just working the whole summer, heading into fall camp. I was still working, and we had like 2 scrimmages, and Prime noticed me what I was doing in both scrimmages at running back. Even though I was going against like 2s and 3s, then they eventually moved me up with the 1s, and I was doing the same thing. When it finally came, it was just like, okay. For me, it was just like, okay, this is just what I do. It's like clockwork for me, and I've been doing this for a long time. It came natural, and I would just take advantage of the opportunity that I got and just ran with it. And that was just a blessing.
Literally just ran with it all the way to having a 1,000-yard season, man. Just talk to me about the 2022 season for you. You finally, you get this crack the starting lineup, and you never let go of the position. What was last year kind of like for you? Let's talk about the regular season. Hitting some of those benchmarks, having 200-yard games and 1,000-yard season. What was that like for you going through it?
It was special, and I will always say when people ask me, I would say it was surreal. Because it felt like a dream, because I wanted to play here. I wanted to play for Coach Prime. I wanted to be on this stage. I wanted to be in this conference and play in front of this exposure and this fan base. And so when I finally got that opportunity and I was able to actually play my first game at Jackson State against Grambling, where that was like my real breakout game, because I had started and stuff. It was just surreal, and it was emotional for me in the beginning. Because of everything that I had went through throughout the year, and just to get to that point, it was like just a blessing from God, and I was grateful to be there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, I have to ask you this, since you're the first player that was on the roster that's been on my show since, everything kind of went down. So I got to ask you, man, just from a player perspective, you win a SWAC champ. Well, you hear the rumors, right? You hear the rumblings about what's going to happen with your coach, and you see all the stuff, and you're human, man. But you're hearing the rumblings about that your coach is leaving. SWAC championship happens. You guys go out there, you beat Southern, and then you have an emergency team meeting. What was going through your mind when all of that stuff was? I know it happened real fast, but what was going through your mind when all that stuff was happening?
It was just a lot going on, honestly, because I mean, we was trying to celebrate. Family was trying to see me. We had a team meeting. And, I'm pretty sure everybody knew what it was going to be about already. So it was just like a whole lot going on. Everybody moving around, trying to do this and that. But things happen, and so I think we're gonna be even better than we were this year. Honestly, we still got guys coming back, and we got a lot of guys coming in. So I feel like we're gonna be back in Atlanta. We started in Atlanta against South Carolina State, and we're gonna be back in Atlanta come December 2023, and this time we're gonna win it.
And that's what the folks want to hear, man. Once again, we're talking to Jackson State 1,000-yard rusher Sy'Veon Wilkerson. Now, Sy'Veon, before we get into, like I said, this is upcoming season, I hate to do it to you, man, but I got to talk about the Celebration Bowl. Just what, you guys weren't able to pull it out. It was an overtime game. A lot of people calling it the best Celebration Bowl ever. Just after that game, that was an emotional game. You guys played your hearts out, but you didn't come away with the win. How are you feeling after that game? Your coach is leaving. You lose the game. Just what's kind of going on in the locker room for you? Just Sy'Veon when all that's happening.
For me, I honestly did not have much emotion because I feel like it didn't seem real when after that last play they were storming the field because we expect to go in and win no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was a close game, we wasn't even expecting it to be a close game, but although it was, we were expecting to come out with the win. So I feel like it didn't really hit me until the day after. Wow. I was in the locker room still just like, dang, we really lost. Then on the field after that last play when we didn't get a touchdown to tie it up. In overtime, it was like, is this really happening? Like, it didn't seem real at all. Like, them storming the field. Should have been us. But, things happen. And that's why I hope they make it back so we can play them again in a rematch.
You hope they make it back because you plan on being there. He was like, you hope they make it. Yeah, I got you, man. So after the season's over, A.D. Robinson names Coach T.C. Taylor the head coach. But you had a decision to make. And you took your time and you came to the decision to stay. What was the biggest reasoning for you wanting to stay at Jackson State? Even though you said at the beginning, I came there, I wanted to play for Prime, but ultimately something was there that made you want to stay at JSU and finish it out at Jackson State.
Yeah, I had a choice, and it was a lot of things went into my decision, to either go with Prime or to stay. But after praying about it and like talking to family and stuff like that, talking to certain people, I just felt in my heart and that God was leading me to stay. And I didn't have any, bad experiences here at Jackson State. Obviously, I came from Prime, but other than that, outside of Prime, I didn't have any bad experiences at Jackson State, on or off the field. And so it was nothing. I didn't really want to leave Jackson State. I love Jackson State. This is the first school I've been to that actually felt like home for me. And I've been, cool with everybody on campus, whether it's football players, regular students, stuff like that. And it actually feels like this is my second home. And so staying was not a difficult decision. It was just a decision that I had to make. And I'm glad I was able to make that decision, a sound decision based on, my relationship with God. I don't feel like without that, I would have been able to make that decision.
Absolutely, man. And trust me, they are happy that you stayed, man. Like they're the folks, the fans, the supporters, alumni, all of them was like, whoa, when they seen that Instagram live, man, you kind of shut them down, let them know. Came out with the JSU gear. They was pretty happy to see you stay, and joining you at Jackson State will be a guy that was your teammate back at Dell State, and as he says, Guthrie, man. What was that like to see, when he opts in the portal? You were a big recruiter as far as even publicly, but what was those conversations like between you and Isaias trying to get him down to Jackson State and him ultimately choosing the Tigers?
Yeah, as soon as he entered the portal, I was like, you got to come. Like, it ain't no choice. You got to come. And that was before we even knew about Prime leaving. I was telling him, you got to come. I don't care. And so even after Prime left, and then we were still in communication, he was asking me what I was going to do. And I told him, if I stay, you got to come no matter what. So that was the conversation we had. And then when I ended up making my decision, he had told me, okay, yeah, I'm coming with you. And I was like, okay, we good then.
That's good to hear, man. That's good to hear. And let's talk about this new team that's going to be, that's all gathered there now in Jackson, getting ready, have your spring practices going, everything like that. But one thing that I've seen from you is that not just with Isaias, but just with anybody that's either gotten an offer or considering Jackson State, you've been very vocal, right? Very active on social media as far as pushing guys towards coming to play with you at Jackson State. What's that about, man? Why, like, you don't always see a bunch of students recruiting other players publicly. Maybe you're doing it behind the scenes, but you're doing it very publicly to where all the fans and the alumni and supporters are seeing it. What kind of goes into that, making you want to publicly recruit these guys to come play at JSU?
I mean, for me, I wasn't really a very vocal person last year. But this year has been one of my goals to be more vocal. Whether it's on social media, trying to build my brand, trying to talk about Jackson State, bring awareness to the school and more exposure. Although we have it, but all eyes are still on us. So
Absolutely.
People are always talking about Jackson State and seeing what we're doing. And then on the field, I'm trying to be more of a leader than I was last year. And so that just all has to do with me just being one of the guys on the team that is expected to be a leader. And so I'm expected to go out there and do certain things that even they wouldn't expect me to do. But for me, it's like, come play for Jackson State. Why not? I feel like we still popping without Prime, and he did what he had to do. We came and fulfilled his purpose at this school, but I feel like we still good. We still gonna be good, and Jackson State's still gonna be the top team in the SWAC next year, and we're gonna be back in the Celebration Bowl. So why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? And a lot of people still gonna be looking at Jackson State to see what we do, even without Coach Prime. So I feel like that's really all it is. I mean, why not Jackson State, really?
Why not, man? Why not Jackson State? That's awesome to hear, man. Now, how do you look at competition at your position or any position on the team? Like, because we see that obviously when you're recruiting, you bring in guys at running back, a quarterback, multiple running backs, multiple quarterbacks, multiple receivers. How do you kind of look at that? Is that something you thrive on? Is that something you expect? Or what is your thoughts on like getting competition even after you've kind of proven yourself at this level?
Yeah, I feel like you always got to be, ready to challenge yourself. I feel like whoever we bring in, it's going to be a competition. Always, it's going to be a challenge. And for me, although like I solidified myself last year and, I'm set to be the starter next year, I still got to go out there and I still got to work. I still got to be as consistent as I was. And as I still got to compete like I was competing. If I'm not doing that, then it's easy for somebody to come and take my spot. And on top of that, it still got to be other guys in the room that can be able to come in when I can't go, because you never know what happens with this game of football. Anything can happen, God forbid, but you never know. And so it has to be other guys in the locker room that can come in and pick up right where you left off. And it shouldn't be a drop off at any position. That's how I look at it.
Hey man, that's the great way to look at it. I mean, that's really awesome. Some people, they run from the grind, they run from competition. But you like, yo, man, I'm embracing all assets, all facets of competition. That's a great way to look at it, man. And I want to ask you, you play a real physical style of ball, man. When you run the ball, you're not running away from no hits. Folks is getting stiffed arm, folks is getting ran through or around, either way. Yeah. Where does that come from? Have you always played like that, or was that something that you just grew up doing? Where's that style of ball come from?
I feel like I always played like that. It just became natural. When I was in youth league, I was more like the fast guy, but I was still like physical as well. As I started like just growing, getting bigger, getting faster and stronger, I was like, I want all the smoke. so it just really became natural. And once I really got to the next level, it became more of a thing for me. Especially with blocking, like I wasn't the best blocker like in high school or my freshman year. But now this year I was on point with my blocking, and I wasn't like afraid of no contact or nothing, whether running the ball, blocking, whatever. And so it's a mentality, honestly, for me. Like if I'm gonna be out here and I'm gonna be playing this game, I'm gonna give it my all, and I'm gonna be the best player on the field, and I'm gonna do what I got to do to get that first down, to get a touchdown, to get the yards.
That's absolutely just how I think. Absolutely, man. Now talk to me about weight training. I remember after the season, you gave a shout out to Coach Mo about how he was able to help you train. And then when the new trainer, new strength conditioning folks came into JSU, you added them too and was like, hey, I'm ready to get to work. Why is that important to you about that hitting that weight room and that strength and conditioning training?
That's important to me because, like I said, this is my first time while being in college that I'm able to actually have a true off season, spring, summer. I've only had like a summer and fall camp. I never had a spring. So this is my first time actually going through the spring, then possibly being able to, well, not possibly, but being able to go through the summer as well. So it's important to me because in the spring, that's where you get bigger, you get stronger, you get faster. And I feel like that's important, and that's going to, help you in the next 6 to 8 months to be the best player you got to be once fall camp hit, once you got to play those 12, 13 games. So for me, it's like really getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster, and also just taking care of my body too, because your body is an asset when you play this game. When you play any sport, if you're not on the field, if you're not able to go out there and do anything, you're a liability. And so that's how they look at it. And so for me, it's really this offseason I'm focused on taking care of my body, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster. Because I want to be way better than I was last year. I feel like last year I was just good.
He's pretty good now. He's pretty good now. I was just pretty good, man. You did all right, man.
My cousin told me the same thing yesterday. He said, "You had a good season. This is one of the best you ever had." I'm like, I don't think so, but I'm trying to be better than that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, along with recruiting guys on social media, shouting out coaches, letting them know you're ready to get to work, you put out a tweet, man, that was pretty funny. So there's some guys at another school that were doing their photo shoot they had some Louis Vuitton bags and some Mercedes trucks and different things in the background during their photo shoot. And you just asked the question. Now, some people may feel however they feel about the question, but you asked like, hey, are you guys, getting sponsorships or NIL deals from these companies that you're taking these photos with? And folks had, were on both sides of the fence when it came to that. What made you kind of put that question out there and just kind of like, ask those folks at that school if they were getting paid for those photo shoots? So what made you put it out there like that?
A lot of people took it as like humor, like it was supposed to be funny, but I was actually serious on my end. Like, I was very serious with the question because I feel like it's important, especially as Black athletes. Majority of people that play this game are Black athletes, and so for us, I feel like it's important for us to not just go out there and give all these other brands promotions and give them exposure and free marketing. I feel like now we're able to take advantage of our likeness and what we bring to the table. Because I feel like without the athletes, the game is no football without the athletes. There's no basketball, no baseball, no nothing. And so we, like I said in another tweet, we keep the game going because we have to go out there, we have to work our butt off in the off season, and we have to go out there and play every single game. And with that, I feel like we should take advantage of that on another level, which is off the field. Using our name, image, and likeness to give exposure to ourselves, our own brands if we have them, our other Black brands if we want to support Black-owned businesses. And with these brands, I feel like if we're gonna be wearing your stuff or like taking pictures and then posting it online, going to these visits, then we should be able to have something in the works. Like, okay, Mercedes, what's up with a NIL deal? There's a lot of dealerships giving out cars now, and so why not? If I come here, give me an NIL deal with this Mercedes that I'm taking a picture in front of. It doesn't have to be that exact car, but give me something. That's how I think about it.
No, and that's absolutely right, man. Like you said, they get enough free exposure and free promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not get something on the back end from that? No, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Perfect way of thinking. I love it. I loved it. I thought I was humorous.
I look at myself like my body is an asset. Like this is my business right here. I got to go out on the field and perform so that I can get paid. And so this is my business. So if I'm going to be, going out there showing your stuff with my business, then I should be getting something in return. It's something called ROI. I mean, that's what they use in business. So
absolutely,
this whole thing is a business, and I feel like as Black athletes, we got to start taking advantage of that. Even with the HBCUs, PWIs, any level, D1, D2, D3,
And that's smart, man, because you won't be, because of just the nature of the beast, you won't be able to play this game forever. So you can only get so much out of your body on the field that you can. There's only so much. And some people, it stops after college. Some folks, you go on to play professional. But even if you played 15 years in the pros, I mean, you come out at 23, you're done before you're 35 or 40. You know what I mean? Right. So, yeah, no, get the most return. ROI, return on investment, is what he's talking about, fella. If you don't know what he's saying, that's the return on investment, man. I love it, man. Once again, we're talking to Sy'Veon Wilkerson, Jackson State running back, 1,000-yard rusher, all SWAC guy. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, like, share, and subscribe to support this Black-owned business, because, you know, we love the support. Now, Sy'Veon, I gotta ask you, man. Just now, you've been there. You know, Coach TC has been in place for a little bit, not a long time, but a little bit now as the head guy. Has anything changed? And if so, what are some of the changes that have taken place with Jackson State football since he's taken over?
Off the top of my head, I can't, you know, since we've been back for the past couple of weeks, I can't say anything has changed. I feel like everything has been the same. TC's taking some of the same standards that Coach Prime had, and he's holding us to those standards. And as leaders, you know, leaders on the team like me, Geronte Davis plays linebacker, and anybody else on the team that's stepping up, we got to hold everybody to that standard. And I don't feel like it's been a drop-off on any level. I feel like we actually, you know, have been, you know, really building our chemistry with a lot of new guys on the team, but the old guys have been helping the new guys get acclimated and build chemistry with everyone so that once spring come, we good, and once the fall come, we even better. And so it hasn't been a drop-off at all. I feel like we just picked up where we, you know, left off and got rolling, even with the new guys.
Absolutely, man. Now, last year, you guys were always the presumed favorites, right? The entire season, and you proved why. You went undefeated up into the last game of the year. You did what you're supposed to do. But folks, you know, because of the change in regime, maybe thinking there's some other folks in the SWAC better than y'all, man. I'm just putting it out there. I'm in the media. I'm just telling what I'm hearing in these streets. Do you like being more of a underdog role, or do you prefer being like the favorite and coming in and proving to everyone why you're the favorite? What's your personal opinion on that?
Well, I feel like, you know, I don't know why people thinking that. I mean, TC, he was on the staff last year, man. He a pretty good coach, you know, and that's part of the reason why I stay as well. He's a great coach. And like I said, it hasn't been a drop-off at all. I feel like I actually posted some on Twitter too. I said, we're not rebuilding, we just reloading, you know, with just new players. That's all we're doing. And so with that, like I already stated, we're gonna be better than, I feel like we're gonna be better than last year. And I still feel like there's nobody in the SWAC that can compete with us, you know, talent wise. And this year, you know, the focus is just gonna be more so on the team. And so I feel like with our chemistry that we're building in the spring, winter, spring, summer, I feel like it's going to go into the season, and we're going to be so close and so tight that winning games just going to come like this. You know, a lot of championship teams, they have to be able to gel together, you know, on and off the field. And I feel like with that, I've been on a championship team before, so I know, you know, it's certain things that championship teams have together that help them win championships and win games. And, you know, I feel like we have that, and we will have that. And I don't feel like, you know, anybody in the SWAC going to be able to compete with us. I'm thinking about going 13-0. That's what
Come on. That's what you're supposed to think, man. I love it, man. I love it. Once again, we're talking to Sy'Veon Wilkerson, Jackson State running back. Now, Sy'Veon, just going into spring ball. You know, like you said, this is the first one you really got. What are you looking forward to when you finally? Because right now, I'm sure you guys aren't doing much. But when you finally get the pads back on and you out there conditioning with your new coaches and your new teammates, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to?
As far as for me personally, I'm just looking to be dominant all around. You know, I was pretty consistent last year all around, but I want to be dominant all around. I don't want to be able to get tackled. I think I dropped one ball last year, but I don't want to drop anything. You know, I want my blocking to continue to improve, and I want to be that leader that I desire to be, you know, for everyone on the team. And as far as the team, I'm looking forward to just the camaraderie, you know, and the chemistry that we, you know, end up having, you know, this spring, and how we actually perform together on the field with the pads on. And I'm looking forward to some guys that we recruited and seeing that, you know.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. Now, we're talking a lot about football, man, but what's it like being a student at Jackson State? I mean, I know you're a football player. I know a lot of the time gets occupied with football, meetings, practice, all that stuff. But just being a student there at JSU, what's that like for you?
For me, it's been fun, honestly. Like my first I met, a couple people on the team that I got close with, and it's just been fun since then. And so I've been enjoying myself as a student because, football is football. Of course, during the season, you're pretty occupied with football, because games, practice consistently, film, meetings, all that. But in the off season, you become more of a student, and you gotta go to class. You gotta pass class, and you gotta actually sit in the front and be there, be present. And I feel like you gotta actually like the school that you at, besides outside of the football thing, because if you don't like the school that you at, once spring come around, you're just gonna be bored. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome, man. That's awesome that you really enjoy school, and just besides school and ball, what are things that Sy'Veon likes to do? When you're away from, when you don't have homework to do and you don't have to run through people's face, on the football field. What are some of the things that you enjoy outside of that?
Well, I like to read the Bible, books, all those things. Money is like my thing. That's been like entrepreneurship, finance, all that stuff. So I'm interested in that. And so I trade on the side, invest, and do all those things. I'm always continuously learning and how to just make money work for me and bring in passive income. And so, yeah, like right now I'm reading this book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah. I've never read Think and Grow Rich, but I know what you're talking about. Napoleon Hill, right? Is that Napoleon?
Yeah, Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of the first books I read when I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and it's a real good book. I would recommend you read it.
Yeah, I need to tap in, bro. I like to read a lot.
It's a devotional.
Okay.
Yeah, I started it. I ain't finished it before. Well, I finished it, but skipped through a little bit, and then not reading that. So yeah.
When people talk about, whether I'm talking to an athlete or just anybody that has like a real strong faith, I always ask where that comes from. Was that come from family? Is that just something purpose driven? Like, where did that faith in the word come from for you?
I'll say it started with family, but as I got older, it really started with just me choosing to dive deeper into it. Yeah, that's really what it was. Me choosing to dive deeper into it and actually open the Bible and read it and get closer to God.
Yeah. What do you think that does for you, having that faith like that?
For me, it allows me to, first, like I said in the beginning, make sound decisions, like the decision to stay at Jackson State. And it allows me to just keep my faith, it has allowed me to understand my true purpose that I have. I feel like any man should understand the true purpose that they have in this life. And it has allowed me to just grow as just a man, overall man, besides the football stuff, just off the field, just being a person, just being a more loving person, compassionate person, kind person, genuine person. And so that's what it has done for me.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Once again, we're talking to Sy'Veon Wilkerson, Jackson State running back. Now, Sy'Veon, you kind of answered this question already, but I always ask folks, I hope you have a long, prosperous college career and professional career, but eventually this game stops. And you've kind of answered it a little bit, but what are some of those things that you want to do once football ultimately ends for you?
Like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, so I do want to own a few businesses and be like private investor, and want to do real estate, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just interested. I have a lot of business ideas. It's just about putting them to work. It's just everything got to be aligned. Working on one thing at a time. So that's really ultimately what I want to do.
Absolutely. Now you say you trade. Are you a day trader, stock market trader, forex? Which one are you into? Because I know a little bit about that stuff.
Yeah, forex.
Forex. Okay. Yeah. Now, does that work all right for you? You do all right? Because that's the one thing I'm not in is actually forex.
Yeah, I've been studying it since high school, like since I was like 15 years old. And so,
wow.
Yeah, it's like a skill that I'll just learn on my own. It was pretty difficult in the beginning, but like anything, as you continue to study the craft, you're going to get better at it. And so that's what it's been for me, just continuously studying the craft. And it has actually helped me be more disciplined because it's really a psychological game.
Mhm.
It's like 90%, mental, psychological. And so for me, it's just helped me be more disciplined, consistent. And with that, I can take that and apply it to other things too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Now, Sy'Veon, I ain't gonna hold you for too much longer, though, man. But what can the fans, just going into spring, they hope have a great spring workouts and then ultimately a spring game. But going into the fall 2023 season, man, what can the fans expect out of this year's JSU team, man? They understand what last year was, and it is what it is. But this year's JSU team, man, what give us a little sneak peek of what can we expect for this year's team?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I feel like this team gonna be better than last year, because I feel like we just reload. We didn't have to rebuild. We just brought in some new players who can replace the players that ended up leaving and either just as good or even better. And I feel like we just not gonna be any drop off at all. We still looking to go 13-0, finish in Atlanta and win the Celebration Bowl, win the SWAC championship, and then the Celebration Bowl. This time. So They can expect a real good season, a fun season, and undefeated season.
Undefeated season, man. They'd love to hear that. Sy'Veon, shout out. Let them know. You tell them you're open for business, man. What's the emails, Twitter, Instagram? Let them know where they can hook up with you if they want to work anything, any kind of NIL or business deals with you.
Well, definitely, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Sy'Veon Wilkerson, SYVEON, Wilkerson, WILKERSON. And then that's also my email, but except at the end, it's Sy'Veon Wilkerson, NIL@gmail.com. And so Twitter is Sy'Veon Wilkerson. Everything is the same. So any companies out there that want to hit me up and talk business, I'm open to it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, Sy'Veon, man, appreciate you coming on, man. And congratulations on all the success. And this is a pre-congratulations on all the future success that I expect you to have this year, man. I'm just being honest. You was my favorite player on the team last year. You'll be my favorite going, unless somebody can take a spot. You'll be my favorite player on the team going into this year, man. Congratulations on everything. And I can't wait to see you ball out this fall, man, for JSU.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad we was able to finally do this and get it done.
Absolutely, man. This is Sy'Veon Wilkerson. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button on your way out.